taking care of biz. Arizona State Senator Ava Burch.
Ava Burch.
Ava Burch is taking care of biz because she took to the Senate floor in Arizona and talked about an experience that she had where she found herself in need of an abortion and what it took for her to go through the process of obtaining an abortion in a state like Arizona, in a red state that is dominated by Republicans in Arizona.
But 2 years ago, while I was campaigning for this Senate seat, I became pregnant with what we later determined was a non-viable pregnancy. It was a pregnancy that we had been trying for, and we were heartbroken over it. But now, I wish I could tell you otherwise, but after numerous ultrasounds and blood draws, we have determined that my pregnancy is once again not progressing and is not viable. And once again, I have scheduled an appointment to terminate my pregnancy. I don't think people should have to justify their abortions, but I'm choosing to talk about why I made this decision because I want us to be able to have meaningful conversations about the reality of how the work that we do in this body impacts people in the real world. For the last 12 years, I have worked both as an ER nurse and a nurse practitioner in a women's health clinic, and that experience informs the understanding that I have of my situation. Pregnancy, intended or otherwise, increase your risk for just about every health problem that a person can have. And that includes diabetes and high blood pressure and blood clots, anxiety, depression, arrhythmias, ischemic stroke, and I could go on. Pregnancy is not a health-neutral condition. Certainly, pregnancy carries more risk than abortion, which is a very low-risk procedure. And I say this not to try to discourage people from pregnancy. I'm so glad that I accepted those risks and carried my children. I just recognize them because I think we have to be honest about the balance of risk and reward and why abortion can often be the right healthcare choice. I don't know how many of you have been unfortunate enough to experience a miscarriage before, but I am not interested in going through it unnecessarily. And right now, the safest and most appropriate treatment for me and the treatment that I choose is abortion. But the laws that this legislature has passed has interfered with my ability to do that, along with countless others. And I want to explain what I mean and why I'm still pregnant as I address all of you today, despite having known about the unavoidable demise of my pregnancy and despite having been to the abortion clinic on Friday where they were equipped and prepared to perform my abortion. First, I was required to have another ultrasound at the abortion clinic, as all patients seeking abortion are required to do in Arizona. An ultrasound that I absolutely did not need to have. I didn't have an ultrasound because my doctor thought I needed one. I had one because legislation has forced me to do that. An invasive transvaginal ultrasound that I didn't want or need to have, performed by someone who didn't want to have to do it. I am safe and loved and protected in my marriage, but I cannot imagine how inappropriate that would be for a victim of sexual assault or for someone who has an abusive or coercive relationship with their partner. Another unwanted vaginal penetration, but this time by the state, by the people who are commissioned to protect us. Then I got to sit through an exhaustive list of absolute disinformation that was read off to me. I was told that there were alternatives to abortion, parenting or adoption among them, as if delivering a healthy baby is an option for me. It is not. My medical provider was forced to tell me multiple things that don't apply to my situation and some that are just transparently, factually false. And they do this because of laws passed by this legislature in opposition to medical expert testimony and advice. And from where I sat, the only reason I had to hear those things was in a cruel and really uninformed attempt by outside forces to shame and coerce and frighten me into making a different decision other than the one that I knew was right for me. There's no one-size-fits-all script for people seeking abortion care, and the legislature doesn't have any right to assign one.
So this is just a portion of about a 10-minute speech. It's online. You can go watch the rest of it, and I would recommend that you do. I don't think we've seen something like this before, where an elected official takes to the floor and actually talks about their experience trying to get an abortion, speaking directly to the people that are responsible for putting the policies in place that they had to go through, which are invasive and horrifying. According to reporting from the Arizona Mirror, Only a handful of Republicans stayed to listen to this speech, and many of them just got up and left. And you may remember from the previous episode, Sonny Borelli. You remember Sonny Borelli? We talked about the Senate Majority Leader, Sonny Borelli in Arizona, who made the comment about keeping the aspirin between your knees in order to, control yourself as a form of birth control. He left as she was speaking, and then he apparently returned briefly, which was a mistake, realized that she was still speaking, and then he left. So cowards who can't even stand there and listen to the direct impact of the things that they support that is happening to their colleague, someone they know personally. They don't even want to hear it. They don't want to know.
Yeah, there are many reasons why she is taking care of biz today in this episode. And I was going to say that hopefully there is some, it's to no effect because you just spilled the beans on exactly how she was met, and it's with ignoring. Mm-hmm. I was thinking hopefully it will move some of her colleagues who know her, who actually know her, and listen to what her experience is, because they're not listening to random mothers who are living in poverty and don't have access to power, who don't have access to communicate with political leaders. Hopefully this will move the needle. But no, they ignore her too.
Yeah.
These men who want to control her body, who want to put her through another trauma. If she were a rape victim, it would be another trauma. Even not being a rape victim, it could be a trauma to have an ultrasound that's not external, it's internal. They insert a probe into the vagina and then do an ultrasound that way. That is what is required by Arizona law, and what she highlighted is abusive, and it's at the hands of the state.
Right.
At the hands of Republicans.
Exactly. And again, I was a little confused when I was reading the reporting for the Arizona Mirror, because I guess originally they had said that only one Republican stayed at his desk to hear the speech. They updated it to say he was the only GOP senator who appeared to be paying attention, but he was a handful of them stayed. Mm-hmm. Some left, a handful stayed. Most were not paying attention. He was the only one, this single Republican, Ken Bennett, paid attention. And actually, after she was done, he went over and gave her a hug. So there was one Republican senator who decided to show any kind of attention to their colleague and any kind of care and concern for what their colleague is going through.
Yeah. Disgusting.
Yeah.
We'd love to know what you think. We're going to wrap it there. 657-464-7609 is our voicemail number where you can leave a brief, please keep them brief, voicemail. You can also email a voice memo from your smartphone or a regular email to idoubitit@dollemore.com. We would invite you to check out the Patreon page. Go to patreon.com/idoubtitpodcast. Look into what's involved. For $2 a month, you can help support this work. You can help produce this show, help us deliver a message to the masses, or whatever that amount is on the reach of the show, which is, hopefully moving the needle, especially on topics like this. Very important. Patreon.com/idoubtitpodcast. We're going to leave you there. We love you. We appreciate you. For Brittany Page, I'm Jesse Dollemore, and this has been I Doubt It.